my dog. He's out teach my team. I don't have a right to kick back when you talk about it. We don't start shit, but keep shit real when you push it out on the internet. So some of my energies came.
Coach Kenny Ellis has finally opened up on everything that went wrong between Calvin Ford and Gervonta Davis. Kenny Ellis is Calvin Ford's assistant, and he seems to be the more outspoken coach of Gervonta Davis. While Calvin Ford's eloquence can't be gainsaid, especially with the way he responds to questions during interviews and press conferences, it's common knowledge that Kenny Ellis is the one seen more on social media trolling, pranking, and firing shots. Well, in a situation like this, he isn't in the best position to prank anybody, as he's involved in the whole controversy between Gervonta Davis and Calvin Ford.
You know? I don't start shit, you know, but I do, you know, I recognize bullshit when I see it and hear it. I let it be known.
Talking about the recent split between the fighter as his trainer, Kenny Ellis, who applied so much caution in his response to ensure he is unbiased enough not to offend any of his two friends, said, "There's been a huge debt issue between Ford and Tank since some of his previous fights. It's not like he doesn't pay his trainers at all. He does that, but he does pay completely. We normally don't talk about it because we expect him to fix it soon, but Ford and Tank had an issue over Floyd Mayweather. Then Tank threatened to sack Ford, and he said he wasn't leaving without his debt paid in full." According to Coach Kenny Ellis, this was really what provoked Tank and made him react rashly. Immediately, he fired Calvin Ford and swore never to pay a dime out of what he owes.
These came from that, but man, was I wrong? You know, I heard Tank, Shakur whip Tank ass since they were little.
Expectedly, Calvin Ford brought in his lawyers, and just right before our eyes, it is escalating into a legal battle, just as Gervonta Davis prepares for a match less than 2 months away. No one can dispute that this is the worst time for such an incident. However, this won't be the first time Gervonta Davis will find himself embroiled in a legal dispute around the time of his fight.
Cool, but when we out here, let's keep shit real when we on the internet. Let's keep shit real. If Tank got his ass whipped.
The last time, he left the court to knock out his opponent in the ring. Less than 2 weeks out from his headlining return on Showtime pay-per-view, Gervonta "Tank" Davis found himself in legal trouble yet again following an overnight arrest in South Florida. The 28-year-old Davis, one of boxing's biggest stars, was arrested and waited for a bond hearing a few days later on an alleged domestic violence incident in Parkland, Florida, according to Broward County inmate records. Davis, who was scheduled to face Hector Garcia on January 7, 2023, in Washington, D.C., was arrested on 1 count of battery causing bodily harm. Further details, including when the alleged incident took place and who was involved, were not yet made available the next day. Neither Showtime nor Premier Boxing Champions commented publicly on the arrest and what impact it might have on Davis's next fight, which was 11 days away. The lightweight bout was expected to be a prelude to the April super fight, pairing Davis against rising star Ryan Garcia at a catchweight of 136 pounds. The news continued a disturbing trend for Davis following numerous legal troubles in recent years. The native of Baltimore, Maryland, was already set to appear in circuit court in his home city on Feb 16 for his involvement in an alleged hit-and-run incident in November 2020. Davis was facing 14 charges and a civil suit after being accused of fleeing the scene of an accident involving 4 people, including a pregnant woman. The Southpaw, a former 130-pound title holder who also captured secondary titles in 2 additional divisions, could have faced jail time if convicted. His legal team attempted to present a plea deal in September that was rejected by a Baltimore Circuit Court judge. Davis previously pled guilty to a simple battery domestic violence charge following a 2020 incident involving the mother of his daughter at a charity basketball game, in which the fighter was caught on videotape forcefully grabbing her by the neck and removing her from a chair. Davis was also arrested in 2018 for disorderly conduct following a fight outside of a Washington, D.C. bar, and saw 2017 charges for assault dropped after he was accused of punching a friend in Baltimore. The boxer remained in custody overnight in Florida, where he was in training. Davis was set to appear before a judge the next morning, where charges and bond recommendations would be formally introduced. His fight was in danger of being called off when Davis was arrested and charged with domestic violence in late December, before the woman who called police put out a statement on social media days later saying Davis did not harm me or our daughter.
Got anything on you?
I'm at my house.
Okay, I don't know. I'm asking you. What's your name?
Gervonta.
Gervonta. What?
Gervonta.
The woman said Davis did not harm me or our daughter, and that she made an unnecessary call to law enforcement in an intense moment while I was frantic. Davis said he was not worried about the fight not happening, saying he just wanted to clear his name. Davis, 28, pleaded not guilty. He allegedly hit the mother of his 1-year-old daughter with a closed hand type slap, according to police, who said she suffered a small abrasion on the inside of her upper lip. In January 20 court filing, the prosecutor charged that Davis committed battery and did so in the presence of a child under 16 years of age. The woman asked the court to dismiss charges in an affidavit filed January 24th. "I do not wish to testify in this case," she wrote in the letter, where she identified Davis as her boyfriend.
Does Gervonta have an anger problem?
No, I have. I say a little. Just a little. Yes, I had to talk to somebody professional, but it wasn't because I have to. It's more so because
the pretrial release conditions were modified by the court on Monday, allowing Davis to have communication with the woman by phone, email, text message, or Zoom regarding child-related matters and therapy. They're also allowed to be together in person with a therapist present. Eventually, when the fight happened, despite the legal issue he had days before, Gervonta Davis defended his World Boxing Association World Lightweight Championship, beating Hector Garcia by technical knockout early after 8 rounds. Davis shrugged off a slow start to improve to 28-0 with 26 knockouts and hand Garcia his first professional loss in his 17th match. Garcia held in tough with Davis early, but could not answer the bell for the 9th round.
Was Devin Haney, Gervonta Dave coming alive, good exchange, and again Garcia eats a left. Some head movement, feinting, Garcia gets countered with the right in the round.
Davis is landing the best power punches he's there was a left hand that...
The Baltimore native fighting in his second hometown is scheduled to face Ryan Garcia in April in one of boxing's most anticipated showdowns of the year. But first, Tank Davis had to get through Garcia, the Dominican who he said earned his spot, thanks to a strong 2022, after the sellout crowd of 19,731 waited until just before 1 a.m. for the start of the main event. Davis and Garcia waited a little longer to get going, starting with a couple of low event rounds and very few punches thrown. Davis found his groove in the 4th round, landing several jabs and bringing fans to their feet. An altercation in the stands near ringside that appeared to involve Philadelphia rapper Meek Mill and boxer Gary Russell Jr. prompted the referee to stop the action midway through the 8th round, as Davis and Garcia were distracted by the disturbance.
Against him. Final minute, round number. So Davis, this crowd at Capitol. There's a 3-punch combination.
He was placing his punches really well in the last round.
The fight resumed for more than a minute, and Davis put on a show until the bell, landing enough blows to end the match. The fight headlined Showtime's first major event at the building now known as Capital One Arena since Mike Tyson's final bout in 2005 against Kevin McBride. As for coach Kenny Ellis, he recently made headlines for a funny move he made while talks between Gervonta Davis and Lomachenko's teams were ongoing. Bob Arum had hinted to boxing fans of the positive talks that were ongoing, only for Coach Ellis to come up with something else.
I think that the negotiations will go very well between the sides.
When originally back in...
Arum, on the likelihood of successfully negotiating a Tank versus Lomachenko fight, said, "We know that both fighters want the fight. So when that happens, the suits sit down and try to work out the economic terms and try to put it together. And I'm optimistic that they'll do that and that the fight will happen. But until it's signed, you don't know."
The day when Tank and Lomachenko was being talked about, Floyd went in and said that he wanted to make the fight back then. Do you feel like at this moment of time it's the best time?
He was also asked about the different networks that would need to be involved in making that fight. He said, "Don't worry, the networks are cooperative. You can't blame the networks if the fight isn't made. It's the people who are involved with the fighters who are not being realistic, but I don't think that to be the case. I think the negotiations will go very well between the sides."
Because some fight fans are conflicted on, performances, age, things like that, or do you feel like this is the highest market value for both?
Well, I don't know if it's highest or not, but
Bob Arum was then asked if a Tank versus Lomachenko fight is at its peak commercial value. He then responded, "I don't know if it's the best or not, but this is the time that it can be made, and they're both coming off big victories, so it's all good. At a particular other time, would the fight have meant more? I don't know. Maybe, but you can't look back at that. We're at this time now in the career of both guys, and it's a very interesting, intriguing fight."
both coming off big victories, so it's all good. At a particular other time, would the fight have meant more?
However, a recent update has left fans anticipating a showdown between Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson first. Despite Bob Arum's claims last that talks had begun for the Ukrainian to take on Davis later this year, and he saw no stumbling blocks to making it happen, according to Tank's co-trainer Kenny Ellis, Lomachenko will now make way for Shakur Stevenson to face Davis instead, provided he gets to face the winner in 2025. Breaking news! Lomachenko said he will step aside and let Gervonta Davis fight Shakur Stevenson this fall, and he'll fight the winner early 2025. Gervonta Davis's co-trainer Kenny Ellis posted on Instagram after Shakur Stevenson's win over Artem Harutyunyan. Ellis's post came after Stevenson cruised to yet another comfortable, if not a little underwhelming, unanimous decision against Artem Harutyunyan to retain his lightweight WBC title. Stevenson's performance was met with some boos from the crowd at the final bell, something the 27-year-old is becoming accustomed to. However, he defended his showing by saying, "It's kind of hard to prove it if you don't got a fighter trying to fight back. There is no doubting the skill and talent of the three-weight world champion, but whether he offers the financial reward for Tank to take the risk in facing him remains to be seen." Davis is coming off another spectacular knockout victory, dispatching of Frank Martin in the 8th round with an uppercut followed by a devastating straight left. As for Lomachenko, the 36-year-old rolled back the years in May to become the first man to stop George Kambosos Jr. and win the vacant International Boxing Federation title. It was reported that Vasily Lomachenko, the International Boxing Federation lightweight champion, was in talks with Davis, the World Boxing Association belt holder, regarding a unification contest. But according to Ellis, the Ukrainian veteran is plotting a more direct route to lightweight supremacy. Given Lomachenko's age, one might presume he'd be better off fighting the likes of Davis sooner rather than later.
Can fight Shakur next, especially when Shakur is now officially a free agent. The Shakur Stevenson fight will be easier to make than the Lomachenko fight. Perhaps
However, with Stevenson holding the World Boxing Council title, Lomachenko could fight for 3 belts rather than 2 if he waits a little longer. Furthermore, should Davis defeat Stevenson, he'll be an even more marketable foe for Lomachenko than he is at present. And should Stevenson win, Lomachenko gets the chance to repay the American for last night wearing a shirt with his face on it and the words "Bob is saving his son from this ass whooping." On the flip side, Bob Arum has now shunned Kenny Ellis's post and has labeled claims of the Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Davis fight as lies. In fact, 3-division champion Vasily Lomachenko of Ukraine is traveling to the U.S. this week for a briefing on negotiations on his next bout from top-ranked chairman Bob Arum and the fighter's manager, Egis Klimas. Arum told a reputable news source on Sunday, representatives of Lomachenko and fellow 3-division and current lightweight title holder Gervonta Tank Davis have been engaged in negotiations over a unification bout by year's end. Arum said he visited Klimas at his Southern California restaurant on the 4th of July evening and was informed that Lomachenko, 36, is coming to the U.S. to discuss a Tank fight. Lomachenko has sought a Davis bout for more than 5 years, the veteran fighter claimed the IBF lightweight belt in May by stopping former unified champion George Kambosos by 11th round technical knockout, Lomachenko's most impressive performance in years. Arum and top-rank executive Carl Moretti then poured water on a recent Instagram post by Davis co-trainer Kenny Ellis, speculating that Lomachenko will step aside to let World Boxing Association champion Davis next fight unbeaten World Boxing Council lightweight title holder Shakur Stevenson, with Lomachenko awaiting the winner in 2025. The 27-year-old Stevenson, a 3-division champion and 2016 U.S. Olympic silver medalist from Newark, New Jersey, cruised to a unanimous decision victory in a Saturday night homecoming bout against Artem Harutyunyan in the final Stevenson bout under his current top-ranked contract. "Let's not jump any guns. These guys make up nonsense," Arum said of Ellis's post. Moretti added, "So, some bucket carrier is saying Loma doesn't want the fight now? Make it make sense."
Who fights this weekend in Gervonta Davis. Do you think Shakur needs to produce something which really kind of catches everybody's eyes and makes them realise how...
Whether his initial intention was to prank boxing fans or not, the bucket carrier was eventually right, as Gervonta Davis and Lomachenko's fight had to be cancelled. Davis's team was understandably taken aback by Lomachenko's response, who has always sought the biggest fights possible during his 21-fight professional career. But instead of sitting around and waiting for Loma, Davis's co-trainer Kenny Ellis has indicated that they may target a fight with WBC champion Shakur Stevenson next. Speaking to Mill City Boxing, he said, Loma is straight ducking. Hopefully Shakur won't duck. They keep saying that Tank is ducking Shakur. Let's see. Him and Lomachenko are the only ones left.
What do you think?
People say Tank ducking Shakur. Let's see.
So, what do you feel like at this moment in time, Shakur should get busy? Shakur should go out his way to try to make this fight right now?
Asked what Davis would do if a fight with Stevenson or Lomachenko can't be made by next year, Ellis added, "It's up to Tank and what he wants to do, but he might retire. If he does, I support that. Whatever he does, I'll support it. If he said, let's get the next one, I'll support it." While we won't really focus on Ellis' statement about Tank Davis retiring, we can hold on to his statement about a fight between Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis happening soon, preferably later this year. This is every boxing fan's dream, especially those who have fired shots at Shakur Stevenson for his boxing style and have boldly predicted a brutal beating for him should he get into the ring with Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, because he the only one, him and Lomachenko, they the only ones left. You know? Only ones left.
So,
Sadly for Shakur Stevenson, his performance against Artem Harutyunyan couldn't repair his reputation that got badly damaged after his hit-and-run fight against Edwin de los Santos in November last year. However, there's a downside to Kenny Ellis' statement about the fight between Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson.
None of these guys step forward. What's your thoughts?
It's up to Tank. What do you want to do?
Tank's trainer, Kenny Ellis, recently spoke about the potential fight and is adamant that Davis has something that Stevenson simply doesn't: power. They can't be 50. 50 if Tank can punch and Shakur can't punch. Let's say Tank is behind, and he's got to get himself out of trouble, and that mother F King Hammer is going to get him out of trouble. Now, let's say Shakur's behind, and he's got to get himself out of trouble. How's he going to get himself out of trouble? He doesn't have a hammer.
Different beasts.
Oh, he is.
That was your response.
Oh, he is.
But when I asked you that question, because what happens when plan A don't work? We done worked on this game plan the whole training camp. Plan A don't work. Plan B, I ain't getting no success with plan B either. Plan C, oh shit. I know that fucking dub.
Via Cigar Talk on YouTube, Ellis does concede that Stevenson can box and has great IQ, but he claims Davis does too. Tank's trump card is his incredible power, which Stevenson simply doesn't have, or hasn't shown it to this point so far. Ellis ended up taking it a step further, really laying into Stevenson and giving him no chance. Tank is faster, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's smarter. He ain't got nothing on Tank. If it goes 12 rounds, I'm walking away from boxing. Shakur Stevenson, however, will defend his World Boxing Council lightweight world title against Joe Cordina. on October 12th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, as part of the main event featuring Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol.
Don't do that, because he's not gonna let you fight Tank.
Whoa. See, he contradicted himself.
Bill, I'm telling you. Bob Bram is not gonna let
Bill Kenny, you contradicting yourself, Bill Kenny.
Why does Bud leave?
In a mocking attempt to make fun of the fight, Gervonta Davis's co-trainer Kenny Ellis tweeted on Instagram saying, "Get your tickets now." As soon as Stevenson learned of the comment, he took to social media to respond to Ellis, posting a screenshot of Ellis's daughter's 7-3 record and teasingly saying, "Come on, Coach Kenny Ellis, stay focused." Stevenson expressed his belief that 3 defeats in 10 fights are too many. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.